James Lynch here for FloCombat with Hunter Homistek of FloCombat following the UFC 229 press conference. And Hunter, this was a very crazy event in terms of what happened after the event. First, let's just sort of unpack that. Just your thoughts on what transpired following Khabib Nurmagomedov submitting Conor McGregor.
You're never excited about something like this happening. You know, Dana White called it disgusting. Plenty of fans called it disgusting. I tend to agree. It's pretty disgusting. You can't do that, man. Everybody's pointing back to the Conor bus incident, and I understand that the build-up to this fight caused a lot of tensions and caused this to happen. But you can't fight fire with fire like this. This is not the way to go about handling it. Dana White said himself he really wished, Khabib would have picked Conor up after he won. Good job. Let's squash this. Let's end it. But to Khabib, for his family, for his values, it was much, much deeper to him, clearly, and he was not ready to let it go yet. So that's all it was. It built up, and we got to see it boil over.
Yeah, and the biggest bummer for me about this entire thing was just the fact that this was one of the best cards this year, and unfortunately, we're starting this off talking about something that was external to what had taken place. The thing that also kind of annoys me a little bit, just in terms of what we're seeing right now, people playing the blame game. Conor did this, Khabib did that. Let's just make one thing clear: both of the actions, Conor and Khabib, were not right. I mean, let's just focus on that here. But let's talk about the rest of the card. Let's talk about Conor McGregor's performance. Another loss by submission. He was not in this fight very much at all, in my opinion. I thought that just not a very good performance from Conor McGregor. He even got dropped. Well, it looked like he almost got dropped at one point in that fight. Just your thoughts on Conor and Khabib's just dominance in this fight.
Yeah, Conor should be kind of glad that all the melee happened afterwards, because that takes the focus off of his performance. And like you said, he got beat standing and on the ground in this fight, in my opinion. Nobody would have seen that coming. Khabib, at a certain point, I think it was in round 3, was not even looking for the takedown. He was happy to trade. He felt it. He was feeling it out. He dropped Conor, like you said. And it seemed like he was honestly not afraid of Conor wherever it went. And he absolutely, that was vintage Khabib smish, my favorite.
And I guess we have to speculate now what happens next. We still don't know if Khabib Nurmagomedov is going to be stripped or not. In your eyes, though, let's say he does remain the champion. Tony Ferguson, I would think, is a logical opponent for him at this point.
Has to be, man. Ferguson, that fight against Pettis was so good. Yeah. And again, the melee taints that we're not talking about that instead. Man, I was tweeting up a storm during that fight. I was losing my mind. Ferguson had supposedly 12 months rehab, comes back in 5 to 6 months instead, does it all himself, gives that great speech at open workouts about how mentally tough he was, how prepared he was, anything is possible kind of speech. And I get a lot of people say that's cheesy and that, but I loved it, man. I loved Ferguson's mentality going in, and it carried right into the fight, man. And the biggest thing that's getting overlooked here, I think, fair play to Anthony Pettis. That's the kind of fight that in the past you would say that would have made him shrink away, right? He doesn't like being pressured. He doesn't like being bullied. He stood right there toe-to-toe with Ferguson the whole time. You don't have a great fight without two willing fighters, and those were two guys who came to put on a show. So awesome performance from Pettis as well. But Ferguson, obviously, that's his title shot in my eyes.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I got to give Pettis credit as well. Hitting Tony almost looked like he was going to finish him at a certain point. Not a guy that looked like such a big underdog like he was heading into the fight. So good on Tony Ferguson and Anthony Pettis. Ferguson looked great at the press conference. I really like some of the stuff that he was saying. Hopefully that's the fight we see next. I have no interest in seeing a rematch between McGregor and Khabib. I know people are going to say because of the brawl and all this stuff that it's something that, do all these buys. But I mean, Conor got finished. We can't look at this and say, we can't just ignore that, in my opinion. So I would like to see Ferguson and Khabib next, assuming he keeps the title. Let's talk about some other things on this card. The one that sort of stands out, Derek Lewis, getting that win with 11 seconds left over Alexander Volkov. Volkov knocked out for the first time since 2013. Just your thoughts on the Black Beast, who came away I remember last time he was in this building with a fight over Ngannou. It didn't look so good. This time he came away a winner in more ways than one tonight.
Vintage Black Beast. How can you not love that guy? The fight, let's call it how it was. He looked horrible for 14 minutes and 40 seconds, yeah. And then he got the finish. But this is what he does. This is always Black Beast. And I'm sorry, Black Beast, on the record, I apologize. I always doubt you. I always say this is the time that you're going to get exposed because you keep not looking so good and then getting that late finish. I don't care anymore. I trust that you'll get that late finish. I'm not going to focus on the negative. So there you go. That's me making peace with Black Beast. After he pulls his shorts off in the octagon, we got to talk about that. That's classic. My balls was hot. That's my favorite quote. Favorite quote of the week. I don't care. Conor, T-Ferg, Khabib all had good quotes. My balls was hot is legendary.
Yeah, he makes our job easy. We don't have to pull quotes out of the guy. He just does it for us. So check out our post-fight scrum with Derek Lewis up on FloCombat. We got to talk about Dominic Reyes as well, getting a win over OSP. I think he knocked him out at the end. We'll see what the commission says. Either way, it's a win for Dominic Reyes, who looks like the new emerging contender in the light heavyweight division.
Yeah, and that's what that division needed. For so long we've been saying, oh, it's all recycled old guys at 205. Dominic Reyes beating OSP like that. OSP's tough, man. If you make a statement against him, that's saying something. Don't forget, you know, John Jones went 5 rounds with OSP and couldn't finish him. So that's big. And like you, I thought that was a knockout. I feel like Big Dan could have called that and just didn't. Reyes at the post-fight presser was kind of saying, you know, it doesn't much matter to me whether they call it a knockout or not. I know I knocked him out. He went limp. That's a knockout to me. So I like his mentality too in the wake. Big things for him. I don't know who's next. He mentioned Jan Blachowicz, and that makes sense. I think that's a good fight, and that'd be another step to see, you know, another step above OSP to see if he's ready. And then if he is, John Jones, Daniel Cormier, Gustafsson, those are all going to be great fights.
There's a lot of surprises on this card. One of them was Michelle Waterson, who was an underdog against Felice Herring and gets another win here. Looked great in this fight. Just your thoughts on her performance. And, you know, that Rose rematch may not be too far away.
Yeah, that's true. She's in that position. There's no denying that. You know, a win over Felice. Again, Felice is hard to style against. You don't really look good beating Felice. She's tough. She's well-rounded everywhere, very strong, very good cardio. Waterson did her thing. I don't know about 30-26. I think there was a 30-26 scorecard. I don't know about all that. I personally had a 29-28 for Waterson, but the judges felt that it was more of a blowout than I did. Close fight. Again, they're both near the top. You win, you have to take a step forward. Rose is obviously right there, yeah.
Yeah, let's quickly talk about the prelims. There's a lot of stuff that happened. You know, Tony Martin, Nick Lentz getting finishes as well. I want to quickly talk about the Vicente Luque knockout. I said this on Twitter. I'll say it again. I think that was terrible matchmaking. Hopefully Jalen Turner can bounce back there. You know, just one of those fights that really did nothing for either fighter, even Luque getting this win. It doesn't really help his stock, and Turner, I would hope, is going to go back down to lightweight, getting the short notice call against Vicente Luque. What were some things that stood out to you in the prelims as far as some of the matchups?
Scott Holtzman, man, that was a big time for me because we've liked Scott for a long time. There's no denying that. He's a good dude, and to see him get that win like that, brutal, brutal finish, man. Those elbows were disgusting to watch. We had a lot of good finishes on the prelim. Hearing you go back through, I was like running back through, like, oh, that fight did happen tonight. Oh, that did happen tonight. It was a good night, man, and like we've said 100 times, I feel like so far, it's a shame that everything else happened because it's all getting overshadowed. But yeah, some really good knockouts, some really good ground and pound knockouts, which are always super ferocious on the prelims. Like I said, Holtzman stood out to me because he's in an interesting spot, in an interesting division, a stacked division. So where does he go from here? I don't know. I really don't. I don't know if he'll get a top 15 guy or be ranked, but that's a good step in that direction.
Lots to talk about in the coming days as we see all this stuff unfold over the next week. But in the meantime, check out FloCombat.com. Check out our YouTube channel. Subscribe. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Hunter, everyone. We've been posting a lot of content, post-fight, pre-fight, everything. Go check it all out there. I'm James Lynch. Like I said, this is Hunter Homistek. Just keep your eyes peeled to FloCombat. We will have more coverage of this, everything that happened at UFC 229. And hope you guys have a good night.